cool, I think he
Well,
should
if
be
I
the
can,
assistant to the assistant of whimsy first, and then we
if
can-
you're not even gonna let in a foreigner anyway, you know, then I might as well have a
No,
cool title.
I mean, you could be the chief executive of cold, you know, since your country is like built on a ice sheet. But
yeah, but that's melting now. And it's
that's
giving rise to the
cooler
volcanoes.
than cool. That's
Hey,
ice
we
cold.
have Greenland. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
No,
out there.
we have Greenland. Let's be very clear.
No, we have Greenland.
Not for much
It's
longer.
part of the Commonwealth of Denmark.
It's a part of the Commonwealth of the U.S., which is the world.
Oh no.
Okay.
Speaking of Denmark and Greenland, we got a gift exchange because Santa lives in Greenland.
We annexed him too.
That was a stretch. But okay.
Yeah, obviously Coca-Cola took over Santa Claus in 1956. Okay, so
Although I'm pretty sure
It's,
Andreas has the bigger reindeer population than our states in general.
It is the yearly and probably last.
Whoa.
The hell?
Cut out there.
you're
Not last, but the reason.
You're
mic-
cutting out.
cut out.
You hit a button or
It's not
something.
me.
Very professional podcasting.
It's
Very
not.
professional.
The fact that it's not me is the most important part.
Better.
No,
Beautiful.
Yes.
You're gorgeous,
Yeah, you're-
Andreas. Stunning. You're splendid.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
So what were you
Wolf.
saying? Minister of Cool.
It is.
Hazelmeister.
What was I saying? This is our yearly and probably last Broken Jars gift exchange,
Wait, really?
but not last for the reason you think.
Oh, clever.
The fact
Yeah.
that you had to say really and actually meant it.
Yeah, the fact that you meant it in that question, like that was a sincere question. Is it
But
Well,
Wait,
I
really?
forgot
I don't
the
get a
reason
gift
we were late.
anymore?
I forgot the reason we were
object
late to
permanence
start,
hasn't
okay? Crap
developed
me.
yet?
Oh, man.
I nominate Ben for the head of information department. So, you know.
Oh, no.
New
Nothing
title.
ever
Just
Tim.
informed 3 days
You
later.
need, you need camera on though for gift opening.
Do I? Oh, yeah. It's got a lot of
fun.
stuff here. Look. Hi.
We need to add another name title about podcast impermanence.
It's okay, Ben. We all have messy rooms, but only some of us show it. But you can show it too.
It's
Hmm.
Most of us show it.
Alex must have the most messy room because she's like sitting up against the wall, right? She's trying to hide it the best, like the
No,
most, like
she's
all
just in
around
the
her.
studio all
She's
this
gonna be
time while
books
she's
piled high, like stuff like that. You know, like it's
She's
The
got her
joke is
feet
she-
on
look.
separate piles to keep them from falling over.
Yeah.
Read my name. Read very carefully. It says Benjamin does not have a messy room.
Uh-huh.
okay.
Oh yeah, see
You
that
believe
would
your
have fooled
children when
Ben.
they say that?
So
Hmm?
his kids aren't
believe
old
it.
enough for that kind of lie. So
You know, this one
Who are
might.
we going to believe? Our lying eyes or the lying title?
even my kids aren't old enough for that lie. They're completely blind to it. So it's like, hey, go pick up like 10 things in the room. They're like, totally, I picked up all the garbage. Like, you're standing on a wrapper, pick up the garbage. So
50 cents like,
Yeah.
get me out of here.
Well, I'm saving this for later. I need it.
It's like, yeah, you were saving it for later last week too. It's later.
yes.
Parenting advice.
I'll give you great parenting advice with all my years of experience of
That is important.
parenting me.
Yeah.
So who's
So,
going
Justin, start the gift exchange.
Oh, and I go first.
Sure.
Okay. Well, it's in your lap.
I'm
go.
reasonably certain that this is the box, but I haven't opened it, so I don't know for sure. So this will be funny. But
This could
But
either
we're doing
get
this for
really
real.
funny or really awkward very quickly.
I know, right? I mean, obviously, I'm gonna look before I put it on camera. But
No, there's no fun in that.
sorry, this one's from my girlfriend. So
What,
If the,
Amber?
if the
Amber!
box has been vibrating this whole time, maybe wait a second.
no, because if it's ticking, that goes to
Andreas.
yeah, no, that's somebody else's. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I've got a cookie tin. Who's the one that does the cookie tins? Was that Ben? So
With Andreas.
Who's the one who does the cookie tins from Denmark,
Yeah.
the Danish cookies?
I mean, that's
still
that's
have
a
a
big
tin
giveaway.
for
So
my
I've
gift.
got a Celebrate Your Fandom Fragile Buffalo Silver Buffalo. So I mean, that's pretty fancy. So
Sounds Italian.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this is a mug of some kind, which I had a couple on my list. So that would
Well, it's to
track.
put your cocoa in when you have your cookies.
No, it's coffee because he's the grown up with the.
That's so rad. It's an Enterprise,
Nice.
Nice.
so it's gigantic, which is also my favorite. And it's
I want a gigantic
Now I
mug,
have-
man.
now
You
now
could
I
have ordered it
two
for
Star
yourself,
Trek
too.
mugs.
Apparently, he ordered it for Justin instead.
Oh no,
Instead of, and it wasn't
then-
buy one get one free, so he didn't get one.
Star Wars dad jokes. Apparently my camera's backwards, so, which my kids are going to love that. And then
That's
yeah,
But your wife will love him more.
the cookie tin. So
Well done,
No.
cookies.
Those are the cookie tins I give, but that present is not from me.
What?
Oh,
Wow,
so
that-
somebody did this to throw it off. Why would you say that?
right, I know, because I was for sure it was you. I was for sure it was Ben, and Ben's not done it. The only one who hasn't reacted is the director, so it's got to be her, right?
No.
No, it's
What the hell?
EG.
No,
One of you guys is playing some mind games here. So
it's him.
It's Ben.
it was Ben. Okay.
Dang
I
it!
think Ben was
got
my
me.
first guess until everybody was like throwing
Dang it.
different kinds of.
Oh, you
Well,
thought it was
because-
because the cookie tins? I never knew the
See,
cookie tins.
But here's the problem.
I couldn't remember, obviously.
You didn't say how many were in there because say what you want about Andreas, but he sends two.
He
Does
sends
really?
2 cookie tins. I mean,
I don't remember
to
that.
me, this is a double thick cookie tin, but you know,
That is a very like
That is pretty big
family
cookie tin.
sized cookie tin.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe he sent the extra large one, and I just
There's
had
there's
two
cookies
oversized
in there
ones.
for about 5 minutes.
I
Well, he does-
that's
yeah, I
a
was
lot
gonna
of
say you have
cookies to
kids,
eat in
that
5
makes
minutes.
sense.
So, yeah, maybe, but no. This sort of stuff usually doesn't leave my office because I'll just get my coffee and come in here and I'll eat, while I'm at my desk, and
Yeah.
I know how to control myself a little bit. Just, I mean, the belly notwithstanding.
I saw your Amazon list from last year, and I thought, wait, no,
Uh-huh.
it still has your Florida address on it. No, that's you don't live there anymore. So I was like, no, maybe this already has his stuff. So I just went and find on Amazon trying to find the stuff. Then later I found you put it all on Giftster, but I already had the other stuff in my cart. So enjoy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. No, I'm super pumped about this mug for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. Well, Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays and all that.
Hurrah, hurrah. Happy New Year.
All right, Ben, your turn.
So
Now I understand why he wanted Justin to go first because he was excited.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
one
I also
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to have as many opportunities to guess the wrong person, and he guessed every single person besides me.
Right.
And now I have a cookie tin.
Hmm.
And I think it's Andreas because I don't think anyone else was trying to throw me off.
You ordered that for yourself, don't
But this is
Right.
what I got. I didn't get another package, so I think I know what the other gift might be if there is one, because it's not out
There-
yet.
There is another gift.
I don't think it's out yet.
It's a second cookie tin.
The other thing that has not come apparently is a Final Fantasy game.
Oh, hey, nice killer. Which one?
What do you mean it's not out yet? Those
Oh,
Final
okay.
Fantasy
decades
88.
ago.
I assume maybe.
It
Oh,
has
that's
not
fine.
delivered yet, or it has not
Yeah,
been.
no, I just.
Has
Let
not
me
been
go and
released.
check the American Amazon here.
Oh, sorry, but no. Thank you very much for the Danish butter cookie.
It says delivered on the same day as the cookie.
All right, well, I'll dig around. I assume it was
Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age
nice.
for Nintendo Switch.
Ah, yes. Yeah, even since last year. I've been working on that Final Fantasy thing. I stopped in May. Weirdly, I had less time when my son was born. So,
Shocking.
You can celebrate until you find the box that it's in.
yeah,
Because
we'll
right
find
now
it.
it's
Thank
just
you
an
very much
idea.
for Final Fantasy
A
10,
move,
the
a
Zodiac
new
game.
job. You had less time. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Well, usually I get to hold a baby on me, but with the new baby, my wife's so tired. I'm watching 3 kids at once, and it's like I'm holding 2 at once, and then the one's running around dumping things on the
that makes
floor for
sense.
the baby to choke on.
Please let me know if you don't have it, because I don't know
Yeah.
what we should do, but I would
Yeah, I know.
prefer to
I'll
not throw
console
money
and
out the
complain.
window.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you. I'll look around. As you see, our place is very clean. We just finished our basement, so everything's kind of in chaos now. I'll ask you details later whether they came in the same package or not. Hey, so Andres, what'd you get?
Nothing.
I got Let's see.
An Amazon package.
I got Defiant.
Hey, Brandon
from
Sanderson.
Yeah. For all, this is his like YA, not Cosmere series. This is the 4th book, I think. I have all the others. I've read half of them. Someone.
Motivation.
But they're actually very good. It's just, I'm way better at binge reading than reading as they come out. And I am gonna guess that this is from Alex.
Yep.
Got the noggin.
I was going to get you one of those other the Mark Lawrence books, but they didn't have the first one in stock anymore. And it would be weird to send you the second book and not the first.
I think
So
that
you
would be
got Sanderson
hilarious.
instead.
I'm doing that next time somebody puts a book series on there. Send the second and third one, not the first one.
I
It's
used
awkward.
of all the odd things that I did as a child, I used to do that shit when we'd go to like Barnes and Noble. It's like I'd pick up the first book of one series and the last book of a different one. I only did it a couple of times, but I was like, I don't know. It just seemed neat to me at the time. And, like I did a couple of Star Wars series that way. So it wasn't like you were missing, too much of the plot or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, some of those trilogies you can come in right at the end and you'd still get a full story.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty
Especially
weird.
like, the kid ones. So
A friend of mine just bought the last Harry Potter book and read that and was like, it's fine, I don't need all the other stuff. Which I have never forgiven him for.
he read the last Harry Potter book.
Yes.
That's pretty terrible. But yeah. So
Yeah. That's missing the point.
yeah.
That's what I told him. The journey. They evolve, they get all the things.
Harry Potter especially it's not something for the conclusion. I think it was the worst book of the series too, was the 7th one because they were no longer in Hogwarts, but that's my opinion.
That's your opinion, yes. I quite like the 7th book. But
What a shock.
That was fine.
the
No,
best
it's
one is the
great.
4th book, though. I will die on that hill.
Okay. I
Is
don't
that
think many people are
Order
going
of
to
the
because
Phoenix?
it's usually
No,
Goblet of
between
Fire.
Goblet of Fire.
it's usually Order of the Phoenix, but I think Goblet of the Fire is a common runner-up.
They're both good,
So is Prisoner of Azkaban.
right? That was a good one too.
I think
Like
the
those
series really
movies.
takes off at 4, 5, 6, 7. Like those are those are better than 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And 4 is the best one.
Naturally.
I did accidentally open mine. It was a classic. I have 5 Amazon packages. I just opened a bunch of them and realized that this isn't something I would have ordered, which is why
That's
I put it
all
on my
right.
wish
Mine
list.
got opened for me.
That's great. It is a crochet set with a bunch of cats on it. Comes in a little
Hey.
tray.
You're an
I
old
can
lady.
Basically, I stay at home
She'll stab
I
you
don't
with
go outside.
needles.
and hooks,
No, she wouldn't waste. She wouldn't get blood on that. Are you kidding me? That's a waste.
but it has its own container, which I need because mess, and it has cats on it. So it's the best.
That's the important part. Mess and cats.
Yes. And now, so it's between Justin and AG at this point, and I think AG is restricted away from not choosing me from last year, and so I'm guessing Justin. Or it was the other way around.
No.
One of you is restricted from me.
I don't know.
I don't know how it
set
works.
that up?
I just know
Yeah.
I sent it to you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's default settings in our little Santa picker is that so you're not getting the same person every year, is so it'll
That's cool.
stop
Oh,
it so that you.
Thank
It
God.
changes.
I'm kind of hoping it keeps me from getting Andreas forever.
It's funny, I think
These are
think you're bad at
delicious.
it.
What are you talking about?
both of you
I've been nomming them off
alternating.
camera this whole time.
No, Andreas can get me. I will take the
They're-
cookies, but sending shit to him is a
No.
pain in the ass.
It is quite difficult.
Was it that bad, Alex? Was it that bad, really?
Have you tried living in a first world country? Have you seriously tried it?
Even the director's picking on you.
The first world country.
I couldn't even send you the cookies I wanted as a joke because you live in their godforsaken place.
Fine, that's
Your
it. I'm
country
moving over to
doesn't happen.
Justin's. Justin, you had a spare room, right?
Had being the
We
operative word.
we'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Got a garage?
Yeah.
I don't need a lot. I just
Yeah.
need like a place where my computer
There's-
can be basically, and a bed.
Yeah, we can move the kids' toys out of a room. So
They have a whole room just for their toys.
They have a whole
Dude,
room
like
just for
extra?
themselves too.
Americans.
yeah,
tell you.
they do each have a bedroom and they have a room for their toys. Now that you're making me say that out loud, but yes, this is a battle that I've been losing for a while now. But I think they're finally at least starting to come around where it's just like, you guys can't even get into the room with all of your toys. Right now, it's a pseudo armory for all the Nerf guns that they picked up in the last like 2 weeks. So,
All
but
right, that
yeah.
that does feel.
You should make it like-
Best room in the house.
You don't have a 3D printer, right? Do you, Justin?
not yet. No, that's on the short list. So
Because
that's
like,
when
you
our
could get
budget goes up a little.
You know those IKEA wall hangings that are like they have spacers in them, so you can hang different stuffs on them. So you could print out for Nerf guns, so you could have like all the guns like a real armory on the wall. That would be cool.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So, yeah, I mean, I was looking at probably getting a resin printer instead of filament, just because we've got a friend down the street who has a filament, and we could probably trade out, but probably not like a mega project like that. And also, like, other than just random knickknacks that I would print out, like the main thing that I think that I would just bury myself in is models of starships. And just like props and shit like that. So resin's supposed to be more detail oriented and less.
I was gonna say those old like micro
impact
machines and stuff
resistant.
I used to have of all the Star Wars ones, and now you can just
I-
make them.
I just went through a bunch of my old toys, which have been out in the garage for like a year, and collecting all of the micro machines and stuff like that.
I was
Because
gonna say mine are in the
that's
basement to be
Yeah.
sifted through someday.
Yeah, I've got all kinds, right? I've got the like tiny little ships that are all of a scale, but I've also got like the X-wings that are at scale for like the micro machine, but like the action figures or whatever you would call them, because it's like
Yeah,
two
like they're
different
not quite
scales, and
Legos,
so
but the
yeah. So
yeah, I had those too.
so I've got all of that, and then found we had a to scale for that Millennium Falcon that you can open up, and it's a play set inside.
Right,
And
yeah,
just
that
like
was, yes.
all of this shit. Yeah.
I
It
had
was
the,
it was a stab in the
Outrider.
heart for nostalgia. And while I'm on the trend, like one of the other things that I did is, so like WizKids did their Star Wars miniatures game, and I'm talking like the first one in the early 2000s or whatever. I had started collecting like the AT-ATs and other figures to do like a reenactment of Hoth, and then they came out with like a Hoth battle set that has like a chicken walker and a snow speeder and a bunch of dudes in it. I still have that fully sealed. I never fucking opened it, and I'm like, that was just buried in a box for like the last 10 15 years. So now it's just like, great.
Now's the time.
Now like the reason why I was going through all of that is because I'm offloading a lot of these miniatures to my brother. I was like, either you take them or I start finding family friends, or I eBay them, and he's like, I'll take them. So I'm
And
going
you will
through
learn
and
this
kind of-
lesson in 5 years when he has also not touched
pretty
them.
much. Yeah. Well, because that's really the travesty is like a lot of this stuff I haven't seen since before the Florida trip, right? So this shit has moved across country twice and is still sat in my garage for like an additional 2 years, so yeah, that's why I'm finally trying to go through it and get rid of some of it. But
This is going to be really funny.
You found
if it's
it?
a different Final Fantasy game.
right.
No, it's. I just realized I flashed my actual address on.
Oh no,
What do you do the
In hand.
Where's the frick?
Hey! Where was
Thank you,
it?
sir. Yeah,
In a pile.
yeah, it was
It was
in a
in a
pile. My wife found
Here's
it.
the thing, though: most of your stuff is still in boxes, so you can just move again if it becomes. An issue.
Oh,
Right.
don't remind me. No, I am.
Yeah.
It's been better.
Don't say it.
We've
Don't.
lived
The
out of-
second you say it, you're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
There's a room that's going to be our dining room, but we had our bed and the girls' bed in there, and all of our clothes and everything just stacked up on shelves because the basement's been unusable while they finish it. We finally moved downstairs, and now we don't want to move any more boxes, and so we just have 2 rooms filled with just stuff. Everything else is livable and clean, and we keep these 2 doors locked. So my
Unseen
wife
by
found
the
it though.
public.
Thank you, Andreas.
All right, EG.
Japan, Denmark, and the America team up for.
he's
Alright,
never going to
just-
be able to guess.
Hell
Justin
yeah.
has decided that I need to learn to become a stoic.
Hey,
You put 3 things on your list. It was pretty easy.
I
to
make
be
it
like,
easy
which
for
of these
people.
two-
That's
Which
that's
of these
actually
two
very stoic.
things am
Only
I-
putting 3 things on there.
That's fair. Yeah.
so,
many
so
things
that
do you
book
want
is
me to
redundant
put
on
on
Glasses
there.
and whiskey stones.
No, I got way too many of those now. I made that mistake. I actually should not have asked for those when I did at the time because I still had more than I needed.
That makes
There
sense.
were 2 things though, right? So
No, there were 3 things total. There was this.
no, I
There
know.
was. I think I put on some like gym shirts, and then I put on the Jabba's Palace card game.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I thought I ordered 2 out of your 3 things. So
Oh well, if you did, then I don't.
How
have it.
expensive was that book?
I
The
don't know.
book was
I'm
closer
looking.
to the
I might
limit.
be misremembering.
The
Oh,
book was
okay.
like 22.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was like, I could do 2 things, or I could do this one thing, and so that's what I did.
Yeah, because I think it was the card game and the shirts would have come up to about the same as just that,
Right.
which is fine. It's one of those things that like I was never going to buy for myself, and at some point I always wanted to read it. So,
right.
You know, we're very
Well, and it
cheap
was-
with our Secret Santa. Our inflation has ravaged everything, and our limit has stayed the same for several years.
It went up by
So we got to
$5,
go
I
up to
think,
like
didn't it?
50
Yeah, like
$50 limit.
7 years ago,
Oh, that was 7 years. That was
Yeah.
7 years ago.
something like
yeah.
it was. It's been a long time, but I had
I-
that thought too late this year.
Yeah, we should just tie it to the minimum wage. Oh, yeah, never mind. So, because that'll never get updated. No, it's funny too because like I sent it to EG and then I made the comment and then he had already commented that it was like I got it like the day after Justin said sent, so there was a strong correlation there. I also put my freaking name in the gift receipt. And I realized like 2 days afterwards, I did that to both of my Secret Santas because we did one for work as well. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try and remember that for next year. But,
See,
so
You should have known I didn't send it to you, Justin, because I had accidentally sent you a link to Andreas's wish list when I was trying to deal with my own stupid logistics.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gotcha. I don't click on links. So that's why you get question
Smart.
marks instead of like, yeah.
What does your
Like-
note say on your Secret Santa notes from your gift, Justin?
I don't even remember. I don't know if it'll tell me.
It should have had a gift message.
Yeah, no, I mean, I put something.
It was in a
but I
scrap
don't-
of paper that you pulled out of the box.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was.
these you mean? I think they just said Secret Santa. So
Dang it. Okay, I meant
like enjoy your gift from Secret Santa. So
it doesn't say Happy Christmas on it. I was gonna try to I'm trying to put in a European phrase in there, and I almost thought about putting on Andreas's name, but I was worried I was gonna misspell his last name, and so I thought I just had to put Secret Santa. I chickened out of the full.
my favorite
full.
part about that is that you are afraid of misspelling the name that I'm not sure I could have spelled, so I would not have caught the misspelling.
Come on. Surely you can spell my last name after all these years. I can spell Justin's last name.
Can you?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, where's my last name? Did I put that in the sheet? So-
Probably, yeah, no, I think you have.
Can I spell it live? Is that okay?
Oh,
no.
I don't even know.
No thanks.
Wait, look at your package. Did I spell
Yeah,
yours right? I
that's
was
why I
actually
didn't
worried.
spell your name.
I was actually worried I misspelled your name too.
My name? Again,
It was
like
on the box.
like I'm looking at that. So
I'll write it in the chat here.
that seemed
This is the
Yeah, you got
weirdest
it right.
spelling
Dang it.
contest.
Okay. I was. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
and that was
That's
part of
too
the clue that this was probably the Secret Santa because like anymore the wife has updated how the packages come so they either
Yeah.
say her name directly or they just say our last name, I think. And so I was like, wait, my full name? That means somebody sent me something, so
Yeah, that's usually
But-
my clue because it's either it's his name or if it has my name on it and it's like one of you guys because no one sent it to me directly and I just completely didn't.
My wife and I used to do
notice
the Mr. and Mrs. for Christmas gifts, but it became too much.
Ah.
Amazon makes you do that double, triple verification, eye retinal scan, spit in the cup to make sure that you're actually you if you change the name of the person you mail it to or something. It can get complicated with
Oh.
Amazon, or for a while it was.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish because our Amazon Prime, like when we go to watch something, says her name on it. Is like this is my account. It's been my account since before we were married. Like, why did you change the friggin' name on it? So, not that I've changed it back, but But yeah. So, everybody happy?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Merry
have Christmas with
Christmas!
cats, and he's gonna final some fantasies, and EG's gonna still be EG.
Yeah. We're not going to notice much after he's read that book. Very
Right.
similar.
Hit us with some of
I
that.
have found out that I am in fact already stoic. It's going to be the conclusion.
Did you know EG actually stands for Jelly Donut? I don't mean his
Yes.
name. I mean he actually personally stands for Jelly Donuts and old cream-filled confections.
Well, I mean, you got to burn calories somehow.
That is a very good joke, and I'm just worried that if I didn't mention that, people wouldn't notice. That was a good joke.
What, mine or yours?
Yours.
Because mine stands for itself.
Yes, burning the calories. Right. One of those standing working desks.
All right, what are we doing now? Other than you people
Uh-oh.
rambling about jelly donuts and my stoicism or lack thereof.
It's a Christmas themed, end of year themed no topic. If that
So
came-
jingle all the way.
Did you
Oh,
guys
they're
get
gonna
anything
jingle
good
some
for
of the
Christmas
way?
in general?
Actually, speaking of, now that I've brought that up,
The Jelly Donuts Bank.
Yes, there was rumblings.
That's because he's rolled his chair all the way across his front room and then back again. So
And it will be Schwarzenegger themed, I'm sure.
well, since you got none of this wasn't on my list, but this was given to me by my best friend.
that's wild. Where did they find it?
Well, it was on
They were all
Amazon, or
sold
at least
out.
that's how it came. So
Gotcha. That's fun. So, director, this is from a movie. Just because you probably
Yes.
haven't seen that movie.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Of course she hasn't.
you haven't seen Jingle All the Way,
No.
Grinch?
I
Of
did
all-
watch Conan like a month ago.
Which one? But also,
I mean, that's fine, but that's not Christmassy.
Both?
Christmas season.
wait, you watched both a month
No,
ago.
the old one. The,
Oh,
the,
okay. It's like-
the first one.
So at least you know what's best in life now.
The Conan.
The lamentation of their women. That one.
Yeah.
All right, you could have done the whole quote. You didn't have to go
That
for the
movie was a
punchline.
bit weird.
It's not a bit weird. It's fantastic. So
It reminds me of Highlander in the way of it's not great, but I understand why it's the only thing that
In all the
people
best.
clung to it because it was the only thing that kind of hit that spot for too long.
How dare you?
And so it's
Highlanders-
loved even though it's
masterpiece.
not that great. But it's not stopping us. Eventually we will continue on to the second one and Red Sonja and things like that. We just got to pace ourselves with movies sometimes.
I mean, I don't know if you got to do all that, but okay. So
Listen, if you're gonna go on an Arnie arc,
okay.
Right.
but Jingle All the Way
Yeah,
should be in there.
I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, if somebody started watching The Mummy, would you tell them to continue on to The Scorpion King and beyond? Like,
I would tell them to watch the second one, but
I was gonna say, if it's choice between
that,
that and watching something that comes out nowadays, I'd rather watch The Scorpion King.
fair.
Yeah,
Because
there's
early
not
2000s
nowadays-
movies are a different kind of bad.
nowadays they use CGI all the place, and Scorpion King famously uses very good practical effects. Is that right?
He's trying.
I
to
think
be
you're
funny.
I think you're confusing the very cringy CGI in The Scorpion King, the second Mummy, versus the Scorpion King movie, which
Oh,
was
Wait, really?
not as CGI problematic.
I didn't real. Dang it! You have out CGI'd me. You've out Scorpion King. You are the Scorpion Queen.
They made like 17 of those movies, by the way, and only one of them had The Rock.
I thought there were rocks in a lot
Well-
of movies.
1.5 of them. So yeah.
Pretty sure The Rock has
I know.
Sean Connery in it.
Oh my god, shut the fuck. That wasn't terrible. That was terrible. That was awful. That was so bad. That was so bad it was good. You truly are that.
Have you guys seen the Knives Out movies?
Yes.
In the
The
first two,
second
I
one
haven't seen the
only,
third yet.
actually. The Glass Onion.
Really? I don't think the best one I think is the first one still, but the third one has its moments.
Don't give me
Um,
that, Justin. That's something that.
I mean,
that
it's not
thing.
exactly a continuity, but I just don't see where you're like, I'm just
Are we
going to
gonna
watch
watch only the second
movie.
one?
Plus,
Yeah.
the streaming services I had at the time when my friend was over, and she was like, "Have you seen those movies?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "I watched the first one," and then we looked around and it wasn't there, and then we looked for the second one and it was there, and then she was like, "Oh, they're like, you can watch them independently." So we watched that one.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can watch them independently. There's not really a continuity between them. I think the first one was the best one, but I've never actually gone back and rewatched it, so I don't know.
We're rewatching it now, and it's really held up. Yeah, I think Ryan Johnson sometimes says the problem with his movies, he kind of he mostly tells you what he thinks through skewering people he doesn't like, and when he kind of grows past that and gets past that, that's when his movies really shine. And I think there's a lot more of that kind of mature storytelling in the first Knives Out movie than in the second. And the third one is kind of in the middle, but it's also a very interesting dynamic where the mystery almost doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that doesn't help it, in my opinion.
Kind of weird.
The mystery doesn't matter as much because he was being too indulgent in other places, and I think the movie suffered for it.
Oh, you did see the third one then?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
And
okay.
it was okay.
Yeah.
And no one's performance was bad, and there was a lot of good things in the performances, but the movie as a whole didn't hold up as
Sure.
well.
And I think it comes down to it very much is skewering. It's almost along ideological lines, and kind of has a kind of a blinkered vision of what's good and what's bad. And what he's trying to skewer is actually so much broader than his targets. If he had a greater vision of that, then I think the movie would have been stronger thematically. But for what it was, I think it almost stuck the landing. So I'm not worried about Glass Onion not being very great, but I'm frustrated that Wake Up Dead Man has so many flaws because it was so close to actually being a really great movie. I think that really managed to stick the landing and do a couple things at once, kind of invert the mystery genre again, have a great cast of characters played by an all-star cast. It almost managed it. It was just so close for me. I don't know what do you think? What do you think in particular? Spoilers, I guess, that was holding the movie back, director.
The mystery didn't matter as much,
I
but
think
also
that-
the characters were not developed enough for what could have saved it instead. Like
Yeah.
I felt like the lawyer lady, I've forgotten all of their names at this point. She was meant to have much more of an impact, I think, and it
Yeah.
just didn't. Like you have a dozen actors that are really good and really well known, and you want something really good out of all of them and their character stories, and they just didn't. And yet they were trying to hinge too much of an impact on them, and it's okay if there was something else to carry it through, but too many things just kind of only got to like 80%.
What do you think should have been cut then?
The movie.
Probably 2 or 3 characters, and I'm not sure exactly which ones. The writer guy, Moriarty, him probably. I think he did
Yeah.
very little,
Yeah.
and also he was not important to the plot whatsoever. He was just there for flavor, and maybe as a suspicious of like, oh, who could it be? But it needed more depth in all directions.
He was the first red herring because it hinged on a love of murder mysteries, right? It hinged on having that love of having read classic murder mysteries, and that's how the murder was put on using a classic.
It didn't even seem like he was a red herring though, because it was like, oh, who set these books? It was Oprah or something. Where they found the book, was it already in the ladies' room and something? It's just like that writer was not even a red herring. He was just fluff.
It brief. I think
cut something for a time, then he was a thing to cut. But like
Sure.
it was just very indulgent. I could tell that they had a lot of skill in the cinematography, I think, of like they did the camera tricks and timeline tricks, and like they knew a lot of what they were doing. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
they'd step back and see it as a whole and take it like an editing pass to just actually smooth things over. It was just too self-indulgent in my opinion.
But I think the core idea for him was, if I had to guess, it seemed like the movie was constructed about the dynamic between what it means to accuse somebody and what it means to confess something, right? That seems to be the themes that are running through the movie, especially with that last reveal. That's one thing I don't want to spoil, right?
Mm.
The difference between accusation and confession, and how there's really only one true confession in the entire movie, right? Everything else is full of just veiled accusation. And if it had just cooked on that a little bit more, and some of the things some things he wanted to skewer and be self-indulgent about were just removed, then it would have been like a classic mystery movie. But it's kind of just a Rian Johnson doing his clever thing. Look at me, I'm so clever, and never quite grows beyond that in places where it really needed to.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, and especially when it's drawing in from a book that was a classic noir book from what, the 40s or 50s or something. Like he's playing too close to subverting something too directly at the idea of the subversion, and rather than just doing something sincerely.
But unlike Glass Onion, which was only just that subversion, this one had that heart. It was almost there. And that's what I loved about the first Knives Out, is that I'll just spoil this. The person who thinks she did it didn't do it, but she's the only decent person there. And the person who calls in this gentleman detective is the person who did do it, right? And he gets caught by the guy who hired him, right? At the very end, it's a clever reveal, and with it's family business, and you get mired in that. There's only one really decent person, and she's the one who wins out at the end, and it's wonderful. It turns out she's innocent, even though she wants to turn herself in. So there's a lot of interesting things the first one does, and it has that heart. It's about that decency without any kind of games, and kind of valorizing that. And there's something to really like and praise about the plot of that movie. And then the others are kind of more just about, like you said, subverting. This actually reminds me of something I was watching, a video essayist on YouTube, kind of going in depth on. Her hot take was something like, fan fiction has ruined literature. So that's a hot take version. But what she really means is self-indulgent writing can never be great writing. And the kind of the minor premise is that fan fiction has kind of formed people to be self-indulgent writers, and that's why things are bad now. But I think the most interesting idea is that idea of whether self-indulgence is a vice or a virtue in writing. I think it's very much a vice. And this movie kind of just shows why it plays against its own strengths.
I could see it as a vice, to just kind of jump in on that. But I think the problem with the self-indulgence is that people don't listen to when they're wrong, because like I see it as a big problem with a lot of our current fantasy and science fiction, right? Because you got to think, all the kids that grew up on Star Wars, we're 40 now, okay? And we're starting to run the joint, and we're starting to be able to tell the stories that we've wanted to tell since we were kids. And to be like, well, this story in my head has endured for 30 years, right? So it's got to be good. I'm just going to ram it through there, whether it is actually good or not, right? And I think that's where the self-indulgence is really kind of a problem, is because you've got this idea, and like even on a minor side, and something that I otherwise enjoyed, right? But one of my primary exhibits for this is Picard season 3. Okay, really liked Picard season 3. There's a lot of good stuff, but the self-indulgence in this case is we've got to ram the original Enterprise design into the show because I loved it so much as a kid. and for me, that was just a really bad and ham-fisted way to go about that sort of thing. But you see a lot of that sort of stuff. You see a lot of that sort of stuff in the Star Wars shows, I feel like, right? Where it's like literally in the last decade or so, the best Star Wars material has come off of somebody who is admittedly not a fan. How fucking crazy is that? Right. And so like you've got this, like it is kind of a vice, but I wouldn't say it's like, it's not like a kryptonite, right? It's not like, oh, well, I can't bring any self-indulgence to this. The problem is you're not listening to the criticism that sometimes is warranted, I feel like, where you're just like, there had to be people that were like, nah, buddy, like, can we just do something else? Can we just not, harken back to the 60s and the design or whatever? Can we not harken back to, your childhood just because it's nostalgic, right? Let's do something new. Let's do something cool. That's where it kind of becomes a vice, is like, you just won't let that go, And so like, I could see that with the fan fiction, right? And maybe some of it is like, it's adjacent to the fan fiction in the sense that it's like, well, you're writing fan fiction, you're used to like 90% of the feedback you're getting being criticism, but you're just too smart. You've just got this idea and everyone else will see, right? Something like that.
A lot of the fan stories. There's one game I wanted to get, but all the reviews said it really needed an editor. Chained Echoes. I don't know if you've heard of this. Some German designer made it over 15 years, lifelong passion project, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But it's just there's just too much in the pot. And just they get tonal whiplash all over the place, and there's not apparently that's what the reviews are saying. That's what's putting me off. So I don't know if that's true of the thing, but it does put me off to hear that kind of thing. There needs to be some kind of consistency and some kind of simplicity. I think a lot of people, it's Darwin Cook criticized the comics industry. He's this guy who did, DC The New Frontier. He did Batman Ego. He worked on the Justice League cartoon and Batman Beyond cartoons, I'm pretty sure. But he's like a semi-famous name in comics, Darwin Cook. And he had the line, he's very abrasive personality, but he had this line that the trouble with the comics industry is that in the 80s, a bunch of people who grew up reading comics started making comics for each other. And so instead of comics being made for children, now they're made for the tastes of 40-year-old perverts. And that's the age when you get. That's when the age when you get the really excessive cheesecake and fan service and that sort of thing.
What is excessive cheesecake?
Well, that's softcore porn basically. It's like the boob windows and the butt shots and I think what people call it now the male gaze. But he was saying this back in the 80s and 90s, which is why he could never get hired.
Right.
But there, if you have that kind of self-indulgence, you lose focus on creating something for an audience. It becomes a thing of your self-expression, which that might be therapeutic, but that doesn't mean it's worth reading. Right?
Sure.
If there's something to be worth reading, it has to tap into something bigger.
I think you kind of just hit on the idea of it is like, whether it's worth reading, it's going to depend on who is the audience and who is the target audience, not just who is going to enjoy, but who is it that you want to enjoy it. And that really changes things. I think it is possible for self-indulgent writing or storytelling to also be really good or great writing or storytelling.
Right.
I'm not sure of an exact example that comes to mind at the moment, but I'm not going to hold out that it's impossible. And so part of it is just going to be skill, and also it'd be like, maybe
I would argue Catcher in the Rye.
Or
Great Gatsby. Like, these are self-indulgent, at least in stories, and there are great American classics that I hate, but I understand why people like them.
But the character is self-indulgent and self-absorbed. But I think the point of the book is that the book is skewering. Isn't Catcher in the Rye skewering the main character? What's his face? I don't remember.
Holden Caulfield or something.
Yes. Holden Caulfield is not.
I think that's what people take away from it, and I don't think it does nearly as much of it as people say it does. That's me.
You're out of stuff, EG.
Yay.
I mean, just to piggyback and highlight what the director said, right? I think part of the emphasis that I'm trying to put on is the fact that you can be self-indulgent, but the skill still has to be there. You don't get to throw out all of the rules for writing just because you've got this golden idea, right? In your head anyway, right? And so like you've still got to follow the tropes. You've still got to follow all the rules. You've still got to do the stuff that is going to, if you want to make something mass appeal. If you don't, then that's fine. It's fiction. It's your fan fiction, right? Go put it on a forum. That's where the fan fiction is going to find its like-minded audience. It does not need to be a AAA blockbuster just because you can now make AAA blockbusters. That's not necessarily what you need to bring out. But like in a way, and like I'm taking some of this criticism to heart because I want to write stuff in this genre, and it's this sort of thing that annoys me, which makes me want to write, right? Where I'm just like, okay, cool, I've got this story in my head, but if it sucks, I'm not going to get anywhere with it, right? I still want to learn how to write properly. I still want to follow all the rules and whatever, and I can't just have some Mary Sue character come in and do everything because people hate reading that sort of shit, right?
Well,
you need to bring in all of these extra pieces that are part of the craft, part of the skill, part of all of this stuff, rather than just being, well, shit, I've made like 3 or 4 blockbusters, so now it's my time to go have a fever dream. Like,
I do think though. I'll push back a little bit. There are some people who do like it, and you get that self-reinforcing feedback loop.
Some
of exactly,
some.
not a broader audience, but
Yes.
and is entertainment really about just getting people to be happy or enjoy something? And maybe there's brain candy where that's true, but if it's really going to last and have legs, it seems like it should. I don't want to say it. Art disrupts something cliche like that. But there is something where you get to see other not just other perspectives, but you get to you understand something real that you wouldn't have thought of yourself. So I'm thinking even my great example of literature is Lord of the Rings. It's genre literature, but it's true literature, and it's wonderful on top to bottom. I know that's not everyone's favorite here, but it is talking about serious things while also having an interesting story, well told, in a certain way. I know that people criticize the way Tolkien writes, but it seems about something. There seems to be something more real than just the events that are happening, while also not being preachy, while also not. I don't think anybody who hasn't read the book could have predicted the ending of The Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Well, still it makes sense of everything that came before it, and it says something interesting about the nature of what it means to really be possessive and evil. Evil destroys itself. The possessive Gollum at the end grabs the ring and giggles into the volcano. Whereas the self-indulgent writing, if it's truly just self-indulgent, it's just the epitome of that vice. It seems like all it's doing is feeding you the things you know and are familiar with and would expect, and you never grow beyond that. It's kind of stultifying you. You see what I mean? Does that make sense? Or do you disagree? I don't know.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, right? Like the main point, and to not need to even take it any further than that, is that self-indulgent writing is fine, right? For a select small audience that is like-minded with you, right? And maybe the hope is that it does have a more broad appeal, right? Having said that, I think because it winds up being a much smaller audience than you thought in your head, right? That it is absolutely fine and acceptable and should be expected that you're going to get criticized by the mass audience, right? Because like, I think that's the point, right? As I feel like the self-indulgent like writers, directors, whatever, the artists, they get upset because people criticize them, but they're like, but my baby, I've carried this baby for 20 years. You can't criticize my baby. Sorry, your baby wasn't good. Like, that's kind of the point, right? You also have to be willing and ready to take that criticism. And instead we get stuff like, well, the audience doesn't know what it wants. I don't think that's how that works. Like, I don't think that's ever been how that works, right? Like, sure, there's a lot that can be said, and with our modern, from my mouth to his ear type of, stuff, we're not going through like, the the famous critics these days and everything like that. We could just go into IMDb and review bomb shit, right? We could just go onto forums and give them feedback directly and whatever. There's some things there where it's like, now you've also got to deal with trolls, and now you got to deal with assholes and people that don't necessarily also have valid opinions for why they hate shit, right? But at the same time, like when you're being self-indulgent, like you need to hear this, and you probably didn't the entire time, right? You probably got surrounded by yes men or people who agreed with you, or people who tried to like value your feelings or whatever, and just be like, look, man, it's just not blockbuster material. Like, it's a neat idea, it's whatever, but it just isn't where the universe needed to go. And that's my take, obviously, and I'm about a decade behind on having anything valuable to say about it other than just I'm an armchair critic myself, right? But that's kind of where I'm like, okay, if I want to have a stake in this game, maybe I should do something about it, right? Or I could just continue to be here in my office criticizing shit for people who cry themselves to sleep on huge piles of money. But like, that's where I see kind of the self-indulgent thing, and I really do identify it with where we're at with this current generation. And your quote from the comic artist just resonates with me as well, because it's the exact same thing, just happening in a new generation, right? Where it's just like the fans grew up to make the shit that they wish they had when they were kids, and that's great. Right there is awesome, but it sucks.
rather than growing up and telling the stories that they could only write after they grew up.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was just,
and it doesn't always suck, which is why I say, like, I don't think that itself is the vice. I think it's the not accepting the criticism, not putting in the work. Those things are more damning than it is, because those things would affect you even if you weren't in this self-fulfillment thing, right? Any story, like, you could be, oh well, I grew up on Star Wars, but I want to write the next Lord of the Rings. But if you're not going to put in the work and you're not going to listen to criticism, it's going to suck, right? Period. Like, and that's kind of where I'm just like, yeah, sure, this is like the impetus for you to go make this fan fiction, whatever, but really it's just your lack of taking the criticism, right? So like, maybe it's not constructive criticism when you hear it or whatever. I more think people just put on the blinders. They're just like, but I think it's cool, so I'm going to do it because I'm in charge. And it's like, yeah, well, you and like 25 other people. So
have you ever played those classic Super Nintendo RPGs? Did you ever play those growing up when you were a kid?
Not really, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the short version, I was just watching the stream or replay two of his childhood favorites and the two of mine, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. And the first one is kind of like Saturday morning cartoon, but it's got a lot of setup and payoff. I would call it very mature storytelling, even though it's a very childish story. Whereas the Final Fantasy VI is very, very epic and self-indulgent, overlong and bloated with lots of extra stuff that doesn't need to be there, that actually distracts and makes no sense and kind of undercuts what the story is trying to do. And the second is so praised for being such a mature story, but it occurred to me that it wasn't, because it was so self-indulgent and it doesn't have that cutting down. Whereas the former is a mature story, not in its content, but in the way it's formed. Only a mature storyteller could write a story that's brief and effective, if that makes sense. That has its setups and payoffs. That doesn't have a needless line. That doesn't use unnecessary words. That's the classic writing advice, right? Omit unnecessary words.
Well, I mean, we know that's not universally true, as we criticized Jim Butcher for that last week. But yeah, no, it's just funny because it's like he used like 25 words to say something that could have been conveyed in like 3 or whatever. We were like, oh, yep, there's getting that quarter per word. You got to get that out and whatever. But like, and authors do that, right? Like you'll see that through memes and stuff like that. Like, tell me he lied, but with as many words as possible or whatever. And it's sure. 3 sentences of like, he turned his back on the truth or whatever, and all this fluff and shit. So I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with your point, I guess, in summary, is just that, like, certainly experience in being a veteran, whatever, will help with those things, right? Like, how could it not? But to say that only a veteran writer could do XYZ, that doesn't resonate with me, I guess, you know.
I think
So
there's a little bit of confusion of content of the story versus the skill of execution of the story.
Right.
Like the content of Chrono Trigger might be more childish than the Final Fantasy, whatever you pulled out. But it was well done, right? That's what you were saying, is that it was enjoyable throughout, even though it was a less gritty, less grimdark kind of story. There's a difference between the content and the tone and the atmosphere and the execution. And all of those get described in the same words. In terms of something that is self-indulgent but maybe enjoyable, the most recent Cosmere book was Wind and Truth. I haven't read it, but it is more controversial than any of the other ones that's come out, and it seems that because people say it's bloated, that it is very long, and it could have used an editor to like an editor that was actually pushing back on Sanderson on more things than just, I don't know, check your dates on these things. It's like actually like cut scenes that don't need to be there. And I think that something that he tries to stick to is that there was a scene of characters just kind of sitting around a campfire or something and just talking. And it was very banter, not really a whole lot of plot moving forward type scene. And there were some people who said that that was their favorite scene, even though it didn't do much. And so that was something that Sanderson pointed to of like, don't cut those scenes because they were some people's somebody is going to have their favorites of there. And he's read by so many people to the point that somebody is going to enjoy it. But it can be a bit more meandering. And the meandering nature of a book can be fine. There will be an audience who enjoys that.
If that's
There's
what
an
the
audience who
plot and
doesn't.
everything's trying to do, right? If it's about meandering or something, that makes sense to me.
Right. Like, here's a part where I saw a comment that was criticizing, and I think it's entirely right. Like, the character throughout the whole book, it has to keep learning the same message over and over and over again, instead of actually growing through the book. A character's a military commander and feels very beholden to taking care of his men. And so he does things like, I'm not going to do this thing that would sacrifice my men because I care about them. And they would say back to him of, yes, we love you. We follow you. We'll do whatever it is that needs to be done because we care about our duty. And they have that same conversation over and over and over and over again without actually learning the conversation that they've already had, because the character's growth and progression was being stunted by a bad execution. And an editor could have said, like, no, make these conversation points move further than the end epiphany that he needed to have.
Sure.
Andreas is about to fight me, but
I just don't necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just think he is stuck in his trauma, and it doesn't really get resolved until.
Which one are you thinking I'm talking about?
Kaladin?
No, I was talking about Adeline. I haven't read this book, remember? But I saw somebody pointing out that Adeline was having that conversation over and over and over and over again, and never moving past what he should have. Of like, after the second or third time, he had the same type of like, I care about my men. And they said, yes, we care about you. Learn it. Move past it. And the fact that you thought I was talking about Kaladin and I was talking about a different one kind of shows that all of the characters are stunted. None of them are moving forward as much as they need to. And that's been the constant criticism of it. And this is Sanderson's self-indulgence. He's not quite as skilled on the character side that he is on like the world building side. But people were criticizing Rhythm of War of like, it's just a book about world building magic science rather than like the plot moving forward.
Right.
But also,
I mean, his strength is definitely more world building, yes, than characters. But I don't think his characters are by any means bad, and I'm not sure I would say stunted.
They're not growing very much. There's a lot of growth in the first 2-3 books, but out of 4 and 5, there are things happening, but characters are not growing. And when these books are over 1,000 pages and these characters are having the same thoughts the whole time,
Yeah.
it becomes grating.
Yeah. That's one of the things I have to learn about writing when I do my own, is I have to figure out how to write the story, but then completely rewrite it. I think if every novel length story, you have to write it twice. You write it the first draft, and then in the revision, you have figured out what it's about, and then everything leads up to that moment or that payoff.
Do you
or
outline
that
before you
idea
start
was-
writing? Or do you, quote unquote,
Every
pant it?
I always I that's the trouble is I pick up the pen, so to speak. I start writing something, and I just get mired in the world building, and the payoff, and I never. I've always got ideas bumped around my head. No, I haven't written anything longer than a chapter in a long time. But I don't know. Maybe I just need to put pen to paper and just get past it. Actually, finish the first draft. I can write nonfiction. I wrote 100 pages once.
One of the things that I saw in the last couple of months that I've been trying to get around to actually doing, and whatever, I forget exactly who it was, if it was Bradbury or one of the other greats and whatever, but the quote is something along the lines of like, write a short story every week. Nobody can write 50 bad short stories. So that was his.
That's funny.
That was
Writing.
his writing. Yeah, I was like, you got me there, dude. Like, I might accidentally become a good author by just like brute forcing it and whatever. But the point is like, just shit or get off the pot, right? You know, it's like fucking write something. And so I'm still like, I'm an outliner, right? And my D&D crew has seen that with me, and they call me out because one of the other guys here, like he runs convention games a lot. He's run a lot of games, but he also has gone through a lot of writers workshops for a bunch of stuff, like whether it's script writing or he does NaNoWriMo and all of that stuff, right? And so we do talk, adjacencies for stuff like that too. And he's called me out. It's like, you're an outliner, you like to plot a lot and that sort of thing. And and I do. And so it's like I really want to know a little bit more about who my characters are before I start putting them into their situations. And so I did start writing what would be like my chapter 1, or kind of my prologue a little bit, to introduce the captain and whatever, and start getting a feel for it. I've started trying to work through what I would feel like for the different crew and their positions and some of their personality traits. And I've got a bunch of little nuggets and I don't know, like Easter eggs and shit like that I'm working in as well. I've kind of got like main plot points, but it's like I very much have trouble getting from here to there, right? And so, my excuse is like, at least if I'm outlining some stuff, I'm doing something,
Sure.
and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm still kind of in like word cloud territory almost, where it's just like, cool, I'm doing stuff, and then need to like tie more and more things together and make it coherent, and kind of go back to the fact that like, just because I like it doesn't mean that it's going to be exciting, right? And so I am still kind of going through like the fantasy fiction formula, which is funny because she's like, this is how to write urban fantasy. I don't say anything for any other genres, and I'm like, I mean, good writing's got to be good writing, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to be one of these weirdos. They're going to come out and they're going to like, you write like you should be writing urban fantasy. And I'm just like, I'm just writing science fiction, bro. Like, that's what I wanted to
And
write.
walked in and she had legs that wouldn't quit.
Right?
Good writing is good writing.
Why are all your
And-
aliens so sexy? No.
I mean, what was
all
the
the
thing that Ben
holodecks
said
in
about
all
the
the
perverts
world?
grow up and making the stories for themselves? That's why
Sure,
the aliens
yeah.
are sexy.
Right? Yeah. Like, who wants to look at pack-lid women all day? Like, come on. So, but I don't know. It's it's just funny, and it's like we watch Lower Decks all the time, which is just like, it keeps me in a Star Trek frame of mind, but also like, where I would put the book is just a little bit past that. So I'm just trying to be cognizant of like, Lower Decks is technically canon, right? At least that's what they all want you to believe and everything. So it's just like, you got to kind of honor some of those story beats. And I was looking up some other, Star Trek novels that were like Picard prequel stuff where it's just like, okay, I want to probably be able to differentiate and see what's worked for other people and stuff like that as well. But anyway, I'm kind of getting self-indulgent here myself. But
Yeah, right.
but the
So,
point is
the
like,
name on the list.
yeah, that's today's theme, I think. So, but it's you still do have to follow tropes. You still have to make good writing just because you like it. Like one of the main things, like that's one of Deborah Chester's like main advice in like the early part of the book is like you have to challenge your premise, right? Like, and maybe that's another reason why this reaches out to me as well, is because she's like, look, I get it, you've got a baby and you got this idea and you think it's amazing and want to share it with the world, but that doesn't mean that it's good. And sometimes it's just a bad idea and it should be abandoned, and sometimes by challenging it you can make it better and you can make it something worth sharing, and so she's got these little gimmicks where it's like she's like, I didn't always do it. Like I had to learn how to write like this, right? So I could go back to my past and criticize myself, right? And you've heard Jim Butcher talk about it dozens of times where it's like, oh, this is crap, and it's just going to be trite and just all this other stuff and all these criticisms. And he's like, then I fucking did it and I started writing best-selling novels. Like that's crazy. And it's just kind of funny where that's a human nature thing, right? But I guess that's what I'm one of the points that I'm trying to make is that you can do your self-indulgent shit, but it's still got to be good. It's got to be like universally good, otherwise it's going to be criticized, and don't be mad about it.
If you want to share it to other people, if you want them to enjoy
Well,
it, like you can also just
sure.
inflict it on people and make them hate you. Like the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish, figure that out, and then figure out what you actually need to do. Because if you just want to write self-indulgent shit in your diary and no one else reads it, okay.
Right, exactly. And like if you need to share it, that's why I'm like, go put it on forums then. You've got a pseudonym or
Royal Road, isn't that like a
whatever you
whole
wanna
thing?
do. I don't know. Is this a thing? Is that where all the kids
I've
are
heard
hanging out
that.
these days?
I usually think
So-
of AO3, like Archive of Our Own. But
Yeah,
for
right,
fan fiction,
it's like my friend reads a lot of books or whatever. It's like people put out chapters each week, and some get popular, some don't, and it's like a way to make some money
Sure.
on your writings. So that's
and
how.
it is in the past decade and a half, some very, very big money has happened because of fan fiction. So it's not possible.
Sure. I mean, look at The Martian, right? Like The Martian was a serial that he wrote on a blog. It basically was fan fiction until it was like, oh wait, I'm gonna kind of put this together and clean it up and make it a book.
50 Shades of Grey was Twilight fan fiction.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's worth criticizing that anyway, but you can't argue with the fact that it's made a stupid amount of money. So,
Completely stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
And it worked. It became popular enough to make ridiculous amounts of money. And it's kind of proven that can happen. Like recently, there was a Harry Potter fan fiction.
40-year-old perverts. So
Yeah.
That's the
There was a
problem.
Harry
is-
Potter fan fiction that had like what's the term? The serial number scraped off and republished as a standalone fantasy.
What was this book? I'm curious.
The new book is called Alchemized. I've not read it. The Harry Potter fan fiction was called Manacled by Senlin Yu, I think was I forgot. I'm not entirely certain. Hermione, Draco, something, sex, something. I don't really know.
Oh,
okie dokie.
But it was
But-
popular.
What's
got really
crazy about
popular.
that too, though, is like that's also something that I've said about like Star Trek and Star Wars for decades now, literally, where it's just like you want to tell a story, and if your story only succeeds because it's got fucking Spock and Captain Kirk and the Enterprise in it, then your story sucks. And I mean, this Alchemized sounds like that sort of thing, right? Like you want to tell this story, and if your story only succeeds because it's got Draco Malfoy railing Hermione Granger, then your story sucks, right? So they changed it up, and now they've got their own thing,
Yeah.
So
I mean, just they scrape the serial numbers off. They have the remnants of the characters, and a lot of these things, the fan fictions that took off and got a lot of attention. Those characters are probably not the same characters of the book or the actual thing it came out of. That's probably not the same Hermione, right?
Sure.
It was just the kind of starting point idea for whatever reason. It didn't
Right.
need to stay that same character, which is why actually it turns me off of reading fan fiction, because like if I wanted to have something more of that same character, make it the same fucking character. But yeah, fan fiction is a way of gaining skill. writing.
Manacled is a fan fiction that combines the intellectual property of Harry Potter and The Handmaid's Tale.
Well, manacled. That's just come on,
Yes.
manacled. Like you're
Yeah,
wearing
you didn't
manacles.
catch
like
that
you're-
the first time. Yes.
Oh my goodness. No, I didn't catch
Yes,
that.
because
the first time.
we need dark wizard
Oh,
BDSM,
man.
obviously. So
It has an audience. Like you want to criticize the comics of having side boob panels or whatever. It's like, no, there's an
Right.
audience for that. The perverts grew up. They demand
right.
side boob.
Did they? But they didn't grow up because they're still perverts.
Well,
Right?
Perverts grow up.
that's- yeah.
They should
Like,
grow up.
Perverts
I
now
don't know.
have disposable income.
Well, that's true. I won't deny that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's depressing.
I don't
for
need to
me.
spend too much time in this headspace, but yeah, like I mean, yeah, there's some implications by your word choices here that are interesting. So
Romantasy is it's like eating all of the money in the market.
Oh yeah, it's going
all the
huge.
public money, like all the other money, is going to furries. So
Because the perverts, man.
yes,
That's where you find
I'm-
like that. You
yeah.
get money by selling something that is titillating.
Titillating.
Exactly. Oh, word chosen for reasons.
yes, she knows what she did.
That's why the femme fatale in the noir had the long legs that didn't stop. That's why the aliens are sexy.
True story.
Yeah.
There was the male gaze, and now we have the female romantasy with dragon school fucking. I don't really understand.
I
Uh,
also don't understand, but no, it's a thing. So you can at least review it academically and whatever. But I mean, it's not. But the first Ferengi rule of acquisition is sex sells, right? So
I don't think that's the first rule of Inquisition.
it should be though. Yeah.
I thought a contract is a contract is a contract, except between what? Except between what is it? Only between Ferengi.
Well, the first rule is once you have their money, you never give it back. I looked it up because I got to be
Oh,
right
okay.
about I got to be factual. But yeah.
Very good.
Are you
Um,
fan fiction?
Well, yeah, some of that's fun, but like everybody likes to add their new ones too, right? And honestly, it's funny that this comes up because one of my favorite episodes of Lower Decks has to do with the Ferengi rules of acquisition, and the captain is competent because she knows the Ferengi, but she's paired with an admiral who is being a dope. And so it's just like a fantastic story because they use all of these cons and everything on the admiral to get him to fuck up the Ferengi joining the Federation. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to give you 1 billion extra bars of platinum, like an absurd amount of money, but I'm going to add one provision. And if you sign this, then we're done. And they're like, sure, because they're Ferengi. And then the one provision is like, you got to bring in a planet. And they're like, you fool, we could bring in any planet in the quadrant because they're all in debt to us. And the small print was you have to bring in Kronos, the Klingon homeworld. And they're like, that's impossible. It's like, I know, but until you do that, you don't get the money. And so they're like, oh, okay, we'll stop the shenanigans and sign, the normal contract. But it's such a great episode because they follow the tropes and they followed the rules and everything like that. But yeah, the Ferengi rules are fun because it's like Aesop's fables for Ferengi. It's just like ancient wisdom that it's like, yeah, it's hard to argue with this. So
Now, talk about how they developed, though, right? Because the Ferengi appearance in DS9 kind of followed the rules of TNG, but it so transformed them into something new. The Ferengi of DS9 are what people really like, and justly so.
Sure. Well, yeah, because they wanted the Ferengi in TNG to be one of the classic villains, right? They wanted a new flavor of Klingon or a new flavor of antagonist, right? So that's why they were all, they were all savage and just whatever. But what they did is, obviously like DS9 kind of brought him in, made him more comic relief in a way, at least a heavier slant towards that, right? But it still kind of blends all of it together, right? Where it's just like, as a result, Ferengi are not monolithically anything, right? Klingons, you're still kind of classically, like, they've evolved obviously from the original series, right? But they're kind of classically now, you're like, Viking samurai mashup, right? Is what TNG kind of made them, and DS9 really honed it even further, right? And so that's kind of what Klingons are now. But like Ferengi, like you still do have, homage back to the TNG Ferengi where we saw them first, right? And they've got their energy whips and they're savage and whatever, but now they're just like comically obsessed with capitalism, because that's another foil that you can put towards the Federation and also parallel our current society.
They were kind of ripped from the headlines at first, and they failed because they were originally self-indulgent. That's why I had the Ross Perot years, right? Was it Ross Perot was the one they were kind of modeled after?
I don't know if I know this one, so you'll.
I thought there was something where there's Ross Perot, or is it like the? Anyway, I thought it was one of the things where they ripped from the headlines. Some kind of presidential or vice presidential candidate was why they have the big ears, right? But when they kind of developed their own voice and became something other than just an analog, that's when they became great. That's the DS9 version,
right?
Yeah.
You know what else is great?
Lots of
someone was gonna say something. You know what else is great? Supporting us on patreon.com/brokenjars. We are live almost every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can get access to our Discord, we're before mentioned Patreon link, and come hang out with us there. Leave a comment, subscribe, and like, and all that YouTube jazz.
And I guarantee, if you put any opinion about Star Trek, you will get a response and possibly a mob of pitchforks coming after you. Doesn't matter what opinion. It could be absolutely anything. Someone will come for you.
Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel,
a very philosophical discussion. Yeah.
But it won't be simple.